Hello and welcome to The American Individual. I'm your host Dylan, and today we have a new video for you guys. In this video we have another episode of Top 5s. Before we get into the video, make sure to like and subscribe, as well as check out the merch store if you want to see the channel grow and improve. Anyways, let's get in the video. So the topic of this Top 5s is one that's been 4 years in the making, but we're going to be going back and looking at the top 5 biggest Joe Biden disasters and controversies from his presidential campaign. After his, hopefully will be his last State of the Union address, I was kind of inspired to write this video, and I know it was a week and a half ago almost, but I figured it would be good to highlight some of the terrible things he's done for our country. Coming in at number 5, we have the disaster pullout of Afghanistan. Now many people blame Trump for this disaster, but it is Biden's responsibility since he was president at the time and he was the one in charge of the military. For context, Trump actually had made an agreement with the Taliban on his way out of office to pull the United States forces out of Afghanistan by around May of 2021. And upon entering office, Joe Biden broke this deal with the Taliban and left our troops there until he decided to start pulling them out in August of 2021. And in August of 2021, he decided to pull out due to public sentiment against holding our troops overseas. However, the way he did it resembled pulling out of Vietnam from Saigon. For some reason, he decided to pull out the troops first, then the people of Afghanistan who aided us against the Taliban, and then he left millions of dollars of equipment behind for the Taliban to take control of, including Black Hawk helicopters. Overall, the government we propped up folded like a wet paper towel. The Taliban swiftly reconquered the territory without a fight, and as we sent troops back in to hold the last airport as we were shipping refugees out, 13 United States soldiers died, and countless Afghans were left behind. This disaster was completely avoidable and was the first of many disasters of the Biden administration. Now, coming in at number 4, we have Hunter Biden. Now, I don't think it's good to go after someone's children, but Hunter's an adult. So recently, Hunter was charged with felony tax evasion of approximately $1.4 million, which he pled not guilty to, but it's not looking good for him. He also pled guilty to illegally purchasing a firearm of which he disposed of outside of his school. Now, why was he illegally purchasing a firearm? Because he lied on the background check of his active drug use at the time. He also had his shady dealings with the Ukraine company Burisma. He has also had his crack pipe videos and the videos of him sleeping with prostitutes. And there's plenty that we can get into with Hunter, and honestly, I feel bad for Joe. However, as Hunter's father, he is responsible for raising him and turning out the way that he did. But knowing about what Joe did with Ashley Biden, I don't blame Hunter for becoming a crack addict. Coming in at number 3, we have inflation. So under Biden, I'm sure most of your wallets have felt it. I know mine sure has, is inflation. Under Biden, in 2021, the inflation rate was 7% for the year. 2022 was 6.5%. 2023 dropped down to 3.4%. And so far in 2024, 3.2%. But cumulatively, since 2020, the rate has been around 20%, meaning everything is now 20% more expensive. Things that he did to increase inflation were sign massive omnibus spending bills for different conflicts overseas, as well as different social programs we don't need. He also cut oil and gas production in the United States, causing energy prices to skyrocket for a little while. And he also increased spending for domestic programs. Overall, I know my wallet has felt it, and many others have felt it too, but Joe Biden has not helped anyone, in my opinion, in their economic areas, even with having multiple post-pandemic advantages. Coming in at number 2, we have the COVID-19 response. So I wanted to talk about this one because of how bad it actually was. I'm only going to mention briefly the deaths because I'm skeptical how many of these were actually due to COVID and how many are actually Joe Biden's fault. But under Biden, more people died from COVID than under Trump, even though Joe had the vaccine for longer and completely botched the response. Granted, I don't think the vaccines actually worked, and what didn't help was Joe saying that before the election, he will not take any vaccine developed under the Trump admin. Joe Biden also messed up a lot of kids' development by not reopening the country sooner. We have an entire generation of kids who will have to play catch up for the rest of their lives because of COVID. He could have also opened the economy sooner. He claims that we saw this record job growth, but a lot of people just, so if you take away a certain number of jobs, when they come back, you didn't gain new jobs. They're the same jobs that we lost from COVID. So I don't see how this is growth. We just regain them, and with inflation and everything else, everyone needs to work 2 jobs now to afford anything. Coming in at number 1, we have, in my opinion, Biden's biggest failure and probably the most dangerous one to the American people, and that is his failure over the border. Over his presidency, Biden has let in more illegal immigrants than any other president, and here's a graph comparing him to President Trump's numbers, but it was so bad that they actually thought the idea of flying in 320,000 immigrants, illegal immigrants, would look better. But after this news broke, it actually hurt his numbers because we were buying them Delta plane tickets to fly around to different parts of the country. And statistically, actually, most Americans agree that this is Biden's biggest failure, and is one of the strongest issues that Trump's been promoting. It's one of the things, we would think would be a common agreed upon value, and that is to protect your citizens. However, the left hates American individuals. The problem with increasing the amount of illegal immigrants isn't xenophobia, it isn't some racist idea, but there's actual practical problems that come from this. One of them is actually illegal immigrants don't have to pay taxes for any of the services that they receive, and they usually never actually get assigned a court date for their relocation process, and rarely attempt to gain citizenship upon entry of this country. Number 2, they actually commit crimes at rates higher than other sections of the population. And I mean, when you consider literally the first step that they take is committing a crime, they probably don't care about committing other crimes. Number 3, the Democrats insist on counting illegal immigrants into our census and not tracking them if they are a citizen or not. This means when we draw up all the districts and delegate the number of representatives get assigned for larger populations, regardless if they're legal or not. Meaning that if you have more illegal immigrants, you get more representation. And then you also have some states that are not using voter ID, so you can probably assume that illegal immigrants can vote pretty easily. But this is my proposal to fix Joe Biden's biggest failure. We need to stop letting people into our country illegally, and we need to close the border and build the wall, baby. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure to like and subscribe if you want to see more content, as well as check out the merch store if you want to see this channel grow and improve. Most importantly, have a good night.